What up, motherfuckers? It's Nate Dogg here to talk some ball. We got this freshly autographed ball straight out the case. Who was this autographed by? I don't really give a shit. Probably some scrubs. So I'm out here to grip some pigskin and let it rip. But you know who cannot do that? Especially when the temperature's below 70 degrees? Tua Tagovailoa. Him and his little baby hands out there. Hands probably smaller than Kenny Pickett, honestly. Can't even throw the ball 25 air yards down the field. This man has reverted to his pee-wee football days back in Hawaii. But honestly, he was probably more of a gamer out there in pee-wee football before he got these dozen concussions. I know they didn't track concussions back then in Hawaii, so I'm sure he had a half dozen then, another half dozen in the NFL. Make it a baker's dozen, I'm sure. But that man right now is getting sympathy starts because his head coach, Mike McDaniel, is too bewildered, and he's over there on the sideline just spazzing out, and he's just going to play Tua forever. Even if Tua cannot throw the ball down the field, he cannot run, he's looking scared. The first time this man gets hit, he falls down, and he just starts shaking, and he can't take any pocket. Every time the pocket collapses, he spazzes out, and he just goes into complete chaos. This man does not know how to read a zone defense. He has now 16 interceptions in 2025, all against zone defenses. And it's all because he is not all there. This man is not all there. You can tell every time they cut to him on the sideline, he's looking completely lost. Completely lost. And it's even worse once he steps in between those lines on the field. Cannot read any coverage because he's too worried about his own health, and he is not all there. They don't have any other options. It's got to be McDaniel. It's got to be Tua. They both have got to go if Miami has any chance of getting back to their glory days, which was probably, what do we want to say, 50 years ago now. Obviously, they had some good days with Danny Marino. Obviously, with my boy Ricky Williams there. But they haven't won a Super Bowl in over 50 years, let's be honest. And they're out here playing Tua, have this coach on the sidelines with his glasses fogging up, just looking like an absolute clown over there, spazzing out on the sidelines. And this boy Tua cannot even throw the ball downfield past 25 yards. I guarantee you, I could step out there on that field today, down at Heinz Field, and I could let this pigskin rip way farther than Tua. This Polynesian man was not built for this. Not built for this right now. Too many concussions, too many injuries. Tua, you need to recover, and I hope he can recover. I do not want to pile on this man because I genuinely do like Tua. He seems like a great guy, but this sport of football has brutalized him to the point of no return on the gridiron, in my opinion. I hope he can sit out. He can make a full recovery as a human off the field, but that's going to take Mike McDaniel getting his own head out of his ass and resigning as a head coach. And then Tua will no longer have a job, and he will be forced to step aside. And he could probably take some notes from a previous Dolphin like Ricky Williams, get into doing some maybe of that African canvas, go out there on a retreat and sleep in a tent with Ricky Williams for about 2 or 3 months and maybe start to make some recoveries in that way. And he can also take some notes from that man on the other side on the Pittsburgh Steelers sideline last night, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron, do me a favor. I know you're not retiring anytime soon, not this year, probably not next year, probably not even the year after that. You'll be playing long past Phillip Rivers' bum ass right now at 44. But whenever you do retire, I need you to take Tua. I need you to hold his hand like he's your child, walk him through the airport, sit at one of these terminals and book a one-way flight out there to Costa Rica or Spain or wherever you're doing these mushroom retreats, these psilocybin retreats or these ayahuasca retreats. Tua needs to go with you, and you need to mentor him. Not in football, because this man cannot throw. His hands are not going to grow. He's not going to adapt to the cold, and he is forever shaken mentally on the football field. So you need to mentor him in ayahuasca retreats and how to be a shaman. You need to be Tua Tagovailoa's shaman, and you need to help recover his brain so he can live a quality life as a human being. We care about him as a human being. Tua, I know you're watching this, Tua. I know you're watching this because you're like a child out there with their iPads with probably 12 hours of screen time a day, none of them watching any film because you can't digest that. I know you're watching this, Tua, and I care about you and I love you. You need to go do some ayahuasca retreats with Aaron Rodgers, the GOAT. The GOAT, Mr. Aaron Rodgers, and that will get you back on track. And maybe you can make a comeback then when you're a grandfather at 44 like Phillip Rivers. Who knows? Anything is possible and I do believe in you. But let's get back to the GOAT. Is Aaron Rodgers actually the GOAT of football, of quarterbacks, of players in general? Is he the GOAT? We had this man sitting in Green Bay behind Brett Favre for probably about 4 years. Sitting in Green Bay in the freezing cold tundra of Lambeau Field in Wisconsin. Who knows where the fuck that's at? Nobody fucking knows unless you're a cheesehead and you've been there and you're out there with all your friends drinking beer out there in the middle of fucking nowhere for this football game where you're going to sit your ass on some cold-ass bleachers, probably get frostbite on your ass and your taint, and you're going to watch some football in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. Nobody knows where the fuck Green Bay is. And Aaron Rodgers, a California kid, born and raised in California, goes to University of California, Cal, and gets drafted to the middle of fucking nowhere in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And not only that, oh, Aaron, you're not even going to play. You're going to sit behind this son of a bitch, Brett Favre. You're going to sit behind him. Do you guys understand what that can do to a man? Sitting behind number 4 in Green Bay for 4 years? You might think, oh yeah, Brett Favre is a legend. Wow, that would be such a hard act to follow. No. That is enough to get a man locked up in prison. If you need to sit there and watch Brett Favre for 4 years and try to learn from him, that's enough to get you incarcerated. This man, Brett Favre, horny as all get out there in Wisconsin, sending pictures of his D&B, his dick and balls, to anybody who had a cell phone, who was able to receive messages. Horny as all get out, and Aaron Rodgers is supposed to sit here and use this man as an example. The fact that Aaron Rodgers was able to stay on the straight and narrow says a lot about his character. And the amount of criticism that Aaron Rodgers has got over this past decade, half decade, compared to Brett Favre, that says a lot about our society. You have Brett Favre out there proving, to be sending pictures of his cock and balls to anybody who can receive it. All the equipment staff, all the female reporters, probably just the male ball boys, like, hey, here's a picture, take this picture, Merry Christmas, sending probably Christmas cards just of his cock, probably dressed up as Santa Claus. Just doing it for fun. And we want to act like that's okay. Maybe if people wanted to see it, okay, whatever. And I understand you're bored out there in Green Bay, Wisconsin. You can get into a lot of different things, But for people who have families and don't want to see this, come on, Brett. It stopped being funny. That was not funny. And we have Aaron Rodgers sitting there taking notes from this man, Brett Favre, on how to behave as an NFL quarterback. Not to mention that, other than sending the dick and balls pictures to everybody, then you have Brett Favre as a retired man stealing money from the welfare system in Mississippi to build extra facilities for his daughter's volleyball team at the University of Southern Miss, or whoever knows where the fuck that university is. That they needed a bigger and better volleyball stadium, a state-of-the-art stadium, because everybody in America and everybody in Mississippi cares so much about Southern Miss's volleyball program. And with Brett Favre's history as a pervert, I think it could be even worse than that. Yes, his daughter was on the team, but what was he doing in that volleyball facility? Some weird, sketchy things. You have this proven pervert who is sending cock and balls photos to everybody who had a phone in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Now he's stealing money from the welfare, from the poorest of the poor in one of the poorest states in America to build new facilities for a college volleyball team? Was he really worried about these girls and how good their facility was? Or was he trying to creep and clap some cheeks? Let's be honest. Did he really care enough to steal from the poor and take that welfare money to build better facilities to make sure Southern Miss had a better volleyball team? Or was he trying to clap some cheeks? Let's be honest. And Aaron Rodgers had to use that man as an example on how to behave. And Aaron Rodgers stepped up in Green Bay, became a legend, surpassing any other quarterback in that sorry-ass town, who wants to claim like they are a title town when all their championships came before the NFL even merged, before 63, when there was no real Super Bowls. There was a dozen teams in the NFL probably, and they're up there winning championships, and they want to act like they won something. You ain't won nothing, Green Bay. You ain't won nothing. You got one with Brett. He was able to put his phone down long enough to go out there and win a Super Bowl. That man could sling that rock. That man could sling that rock. Brett, you could sling that rock. And then one with Aaron Rodgers against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And yes, the Pittsburgh Steelers will win another one here with Aaron Rodgers slinging that rock too. Let's be honest. But we'll get back to how fucked up society is when they want to criticize a man in Aaron Rodgers more than we've criticized a man publicly like Brett Favre. I'm not out there to publicly criticize anybody. To each his own. You have got to take care of your own business before you go out there and just, as a whole society, start to pile on people left and right, day after day. I do have to call it how I see it. I am analyzing these games. Tua cannot throw the football. I have to call that out, but I do care about him, and I do want him to go on some ayahuasca retreats with Aaron Rodgers and start to build back from all these concussions. We have this gridiron CTE study trial throwing these guys out there for our entertainment, risking their lives, and Tua doesn't know anything else. Growing up in Hawaii, raised in a Polynesian family, there to play football, and now he's in the NFL. He is not going to quit on his own. And you got this dumbass head coach acting like a fool, Mike McDaniel, throwing Tua out there to the wolves every day, acting like he's doing Tua a favor. So I do have to be real and call it out. But I'm not here as a society to pile on people day after day after day after day. But that is what we did to Aaron Rodgers over these past 4 or 5 years. That is what we did. Why? Brett Favre, he's going to get a headline here or there for stealing money from the welfare to build a volleyball facility or for sending his cockpicks. Nobody really cared about the cockpicks, honestly. A little bit about the welfare. A little bit. But compared to how the public has criticized Aaron Rodgers over the past 4 or 5 years, for what reason? For what reason? Oh, because he said he was immunized. Honestly, yes, that is the biggest mistake he made. He said he was immunized. He should have been honest outright and said, fuck this experimental shot that has no human trials when I am not at a severe risk for anything. Fuck this. You guys are acting crazy. I did not get immunized. I did not get injected forcefully. That was the biggest mistake he made, and I understand a little bit of criticism for that. I do not want to get forcefully injected with an experimental concoction of different chemical makeup that I do not know what's in there. He should have said that, yes. But the public criticized him for a different reason, because he would not get this experimental injection into his body, which he cares about enough to make him the longest tenured quarterback in NFL history, essentially, by the time he's finished, and the oldest quarterback in the NFL until Phillip Rivers' grandpa ass stepped on the field last Sunday. So we as a society want to pile on a man who cares about himself enough to say, listen, hold up. NFL out there already running an experimental gridiron CTE study trial, and now they want to include me in experimental injection trial across the human population. Hold up, I'm not sure about that. And that's why everybody pops on him like he's some criminal. Meanwhile, this man is goated as fuck, and we all know it. He's out there slinging the rock, fading away, making dimes all over the field. You want to say, oh, Tom Brady's the GOAT because he's got 7 rings and Aaron Rodgers has 1. Have you watched Tom Brady throw the ball? Throwing ducks out there, and meanwhile Aaron Rodgers out there slinging it, doing discount double checks? We all know who the real GOAT is. On and off the field. It's Mr. Aaron Rodgers. To be able to sustain that torture probably of sitting under Brett Favre for 4 years, to rise up, to become the quarterback that he is and the person he is on and off the field. And here in Pittsburgh now, about to get number 7 for the Steelers. This man is goated. And we all know this man is goated. So let's not get it twisted. We'll get back to the game here last night. We do have to do some analysis here. Steelers versus Dolphins. Dolphins, you suck. It's Lurs all the way. So we had Rodgers diming it out there, obviously. 23 for 27 on the field. We got DK finally running some routes across the middle, using him the right way. Arthur Smith actually using his brain, unlike Mike McDaniel on the other side, running some plays. Jonnu Smith with the sweep, getting a touchdown easy. You know, we got DK in space running across the middle. DK obviously is the best whenever he catches the ball with the head of steam. You want to throw a little screen pass, he can't get that body moving that fast. People are collapsing on him, and he isn't getting the yards after the catch. Where he gets the yards after the catch is running these slants, running these seam routes, crossers across the middle, catching it while he's already with momentum, and then he can just take these guys and act like they're playing in the Pop Warner League with Tua, throw him off of him, finally getting him across the middle, making plays in space, balling. But obviously, we all know the story of the day is going to be Connor Hayward and his bridge troll ass getting that touchdown. Connor Hayward, 4 snaps on offense, 4 carries for 4 yards and 1 touchdown. We have Connor Hayward out there, first down, first down, first down, out there trolling everybody like he just did something. All he did was get his hands up under the taint of the center and take a snap. That is all he did. That's honestly, anybody who starts football learns that. If you're a quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa still can take a snap under center, barely because they ran out of the gun most of the time. But when he was in Pee Wee back in Honolulu, Hawaii, balling out there, Tua could take a snap. And Connor wants to act like he's some sort of stud because he only goes in there to take a snap and get pushed from behind from Big Darnell. And you're out there celebrating. If he was, I know he's happy to be in the NFL, and he got a sympathy spot on the Steelers because of his brother. Good for you. But if he was to be told back in the day, hey, Connor, you're going to make it to the NFL. You're going to be an NFL player, and you're going to get to play on the field. And every time you go out there, the only play that you're going to get to run is called the tush push. Yes, Connor, your tush is going to be getting pushed. You got to get your hands under that taint. You got to take that snap. And you're going to have Darnell push you hard and push you fast from behind. And you're going to gain 1 yard. 1 yard. Do you think Connor would be like, pause, hold up. Hold up. What is this? Getting my tush pushed? Getting my hands under the taint? Getting my tush pushed? That sounds gay. I do not want to play football anymore. I will go on and do some other things. Or would he have been psyched up to be in the NFL for that? Let's be honest here. And every time he gets 1 yard, he is celebrating. First down. First down. Oh, look around. Did I get 1 yard? First down. Sheesh. That's something. Connor, I know you're watching this, Connor. Hey, 4 carries, 4 yards, 1 touchdown. But let's be honest, that touchdown should go to Darnell. Connor doesn't even get any momentum until he's pushed by Darnell. He takes that snap, pretty much stands still. Darnell comes behind him and plows his ass down there for 1 yard. Darnell every single time. Are we getting that 1 yard because Connor Hayward accepts the snap or because Darnell is pushing his bridge troll ass forward? Honestly, NFL, think about this. I know you're watching this, Mr. Goodell. Let's be real. Revise the statistics. If you're not going to ban the tush push, at least give the credit to the right person for the touchdown. Review the film, take that touchdown away from Connor Hayward, and give it to Darnell. Darnell can get a touchdown. Yes, Connor has 1 receiving touchdown this season because Aaron Rodgers dimed his ass in the back of the end zone, but that is not a rushing touchdown. We need to add an extra statistic if we're going to allow this gay-ass play in the NFL on Sundays or Mondays or whenever the fuck you're playing games these days. Change the statistics and give a touchdown for plowing. You got rushing, you got receiving, and you got plowing. And last night, we all know, Darnell, you got that first plowing touchdown, young man.